What's going on, world? Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka I'm gonna let y'all say it this time, but nevertheless, I'm here last day of November to get you up to date on the current affairs of the Carolina Panthers. First time that the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators were speaking with the media since the firing of Frank Reich, so we're gonna touch on that. But first, let's get you up to date with what the latest transactions are for this Carolina Panthers team. So normally I have graphics up. Wasn't able to get them up today, so I'm just going to read them. So that's why you're going to see me looking off to my screen here to look at my notes. But as you saw with that lead graphic on the thumbnail for this video, we have acquired a new player from the Houston Texans, not C.J. Stroud, but nevertheless, we acquired Shaquille Griffin from the Houston Texans today. Griffin was claimed off of waivers, released on Wednesday by the Houston Texans. 28-year-old guy, originally a third-round pick by the Seattle Seahawks, now a member of this Carolina Panthers team, providing some depth for a team that has had defensive injury after defensive injury after so it's a lot of transactions this week, which you could imagine Tabor's doing everything he can not to make dramatic changes, but certainly making adjustments to do what he feels is going to give him a best chance to win this Sunday down in Tampa Bay. With it being Thursday, this guy just being signed, I could be wrong, but I just don't feel like it's likely that he'll be able to be an impact player this Sunday unless they just want him to run with Goodwin or Evans or something like that, just on a few select plays. But nevertheless, the other transactions that have taken place for the Carolina Panthers placed wide receiver Laviska Shenault Jr. on injured reserve due to that ankle injury that he suffered this Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. So Laviska was, saw him yesterday, looked in good spirits, but he was in a boot, and obviously he's not going to be playing with the team right now due to being on injured reserve. We had two other things that happened. We signed a familiar name, big body Deontay Brown, and we released quarterback Jake Luton from the practice squad. So we don't have any backup quarterbacks after Baker. Wow, we're playing Baker after Bryce, and I'm drawing all kinds of blanks here. You guys are gonna get me in those comments. I can see his red hair now. Sorry, it happens. But nevertheless, let's talk about some of the other transactions. Let's go ahead and move over now to the injury report. It's a long list that I am happy to report is getting better, meaning there's a lot of guys that were DNPs, did not practice yesterday. They were able to practice yet today, but some of those guys were veterans like Adam Thielen and Taylor Moton. But let me go ahead and read this off to you. Again, I apologize for not having the graphics today. Von Bell, linebacker, did not practice today. Hayden Hurst, with that concussion, pretty much can say that he's not going to be playing this Sunday because he hasn't played in several weeks. I think it's about 3 weeks. You're not cleared by Thursday. I would certainly say if it took him 3 weeks, you might as well go ahead and let him take the fourth week. Get him humanly back to where he needs to be as a person before we worry about him contributing this Sunday against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, the rest of the guys, again, Taylor Moton, he didn't practice because of rest. He was out there in limited practice today. Tommy Tremble, our tight end, he was DNP yesterday. He was limited in practice today with his hip. Jeremy Chin, Yetur Gross, J.C. Horn, DJ Johnson, Cade Mays, Nash Jensen, Jonathan Mingo, Xavier Woods. So for the sake of time, I didn't say all their injuries, but all those guys were limited in practice today. One more time for the people in back. Taylor Moton, Tommy Tremble, Jeremy Chin, Yetur Gross Matos, J.C. Horn, DJ Johnson, Cade Mays, Nash Jensen, Jonathan Mingo, Xavier Woods. All those guys were limited in practice today. So limited is an improvement. Limited means they could be available to us this Sunday. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the fact that our coordinators had a chance to address the media today for the first time since the firing of Frank Reich. And what do I have for you? Well, first up was Thomas Brown, offensive coordinator, who he's a good guy at masking how he may truly feel in terms of letting you see he's upset or he's great. He just tries to be really even keel with the media, which is cool. Demeanors like that are appreciated by coaches because you're leading a bunch of other guys who may need to see you being like solid no matter what's going on. But nevertheless, Thomas Brown had his play calling duties given to him, had them taken away, and now they are back. When asked about that taken away and given back, and whether or not what contributed to Frank Reich's losing of his job, Thomas Brown's a professional. He just said it happened. Not in the sense like he doesn't care, but just we're in a result-oriented business. Knows that the team wasn't doing well. Things like that can happen, and there's pressure to do well, and they weren't getting it done. So he's going to continue to focus on what he can do today to help this team out, and that's all he can focus on. As far as what's going to be different this Sunday, we asked Tabor the other day. Of course, Brown was asked today. Of course, Evero was asked. None of these guys are giving anything, and at this time around, I'm all for it. It was for me with Frank preseason, week 1, week 4, week 10, like nothing's working, and you're still acting like little things will help give you a competitive advantage. I feel like there is certainly a competitive advantage that we can have and that we should maintain for this Sunday. Not to say it's going to equal a victory, but just give us some better results than we had in the past, right? So no information given on that front about what we may see different. Other than, Thomas Brown echoed the vibes that I got like that, because this is Chris Jenkins with Charlotte Vibe. The vibes that I received from Chris Tabor yesterday, which I mentioned when he came into the press room, Chris Tabor yesterday, interim head coach, he was upbeat. He was like, hey, patted me on the back, and then he went up to the podium. It just set off a different vibe, even though this team is still the same. We're the same record as we were this Sunday when we lost to Tennessee. We're still 1-10, but it was certainly a different vibe that he created with being in there, and he spoke about being loose and having fun. And Thomas Brown echoed those same remarks, saying, yeah, just being loose. We want guys to just run around, fly around, not be careless, not be carefree, but just know what they're doing and run around and be loose and, hope for some better results and some good energy out there right now. What helps the loosening up? Of Tabor, Brown said it's just his personality. Evero was asked about some sample things that Tabor has done, and he mentioned that he has a bell that he uses in the meetings, like what you have in school, and he'll hit that bell. Now, what he didn't reveal is like how exactly that bell is hit. Is it because we're at 2 minutes for a time period, or is it because of what? That wasn't revealed, but he said, the bell being a part of the meetings, something new and something different that Chris does a really good job. Evero said this of Tabor, of having that fun energy, but also being stern when there's a need to be stern. I know I had a caller yesterday talk about, hey, I don't like the fact that players are having fun and this lighting mood, and he needs to be tough, not being likable. Evero kind of killed that, and saying that he knows when to draw the line and be stern and make sure that we're not just having fun being careless, but we're having fun learning how to do our job that we're all passionate about and very lucky to have. Evero also touched on the fact that these guys on this defensive side have a ton of injuries. Is he shocked about the success? He said, no, not at all, not at all. Gave a lot of credit to the assistant coaches like D'Angelo Hall and others that he says really more responsible for getting those guys up and ready with that next man up mentality, because he's more on the game planning side. But there's coaches that need to spend detailed time with these players about their assignments, about play calls, that is critical. So again, he says he's not surprised because the work that his assistant coaches have been putting in to keep these guys in a good position to succeed. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this update. Big news, not big news. I'm going to be in Tampa covering the team, so please hit the like button and make sure you turn on the notifications, because I will be in Tampa on the field pregame telling you the latest information, getting you ready for this game, as well as doing what only Charlotte Vibe can do, and that's taking your questions and interacting with you live from the field prior to the game. And I'll be doing the same thing post game. So I hope that earned you liking this video and setting that bell notification so that you can be notified when I do go live. And if you haven't subscribed, do so and join the channel. Help support independent media. I listen to you all a lot. I hope everybody appreciates it. That's all for today. I'm Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe.